Hey my friends, it's Kim. Welcome back to Life Prepared. Hey, I just started doing a really good budget because, being on a Social Security now, I kind of have to watch where every penny goes. And we had a lot of debt. A lot of money went out this last year. My emergency funds are pretty much wiped out. Big credit card debt. Well, I think my budget just told me it wasn't good enough. Because, for those who don't know, my nephew and my brother and I all live together in this house. My nephew's car has been down this week because he's waiting for some kind of a chip to come in. And I went to a neighbor's house. Well, neighbors here are 5 miles away. I drove to his house because he has a nice little vegetable stand. And I like to pick up things from my direct neighbors versus, the big box stores. And I wanted to see what he had that I didn't have. Well, this year I got 0 peppers. My tomato harvest has been good enough for me because I have some I jarred up some before. And anyway, I went to go see what he had. I stopped in, I picked up 4 really nice peppers for $1. That's why I like to buy from my neighbors too. And a lot of times we swap things back and forth. But anyway, on my way home, I'm about a mile from home, and all of a sudden my engine light on my SUV starts binging and bonging and just making all these crazy noises. And I look at it, says, engine at half power, air conditioner turned off, stop immediately, car's overheating, right? And the temperature gauge went up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened? Well, I don't quite have that emergency fund ready to fix my car, but my car decided that it needs to get fixed right now. So we had to have it towed into town. This is yesterday. Today's Friday. They're not going to have a chance to look at it today. They will look at it next week. There was antifreeze, the antifreeze was gone and a bunch of stuff was dripping out of the bottom of the car. So I had planned on going to the grocery store today, or yesterday actually. I was planning on going to the grocery store. Well, that has changed. So what I'm going to do, at least until I know what my car is going to cost me, I'm going to do a pantry challenge. I'm not going to go out and buy anything. Now I might go get fresh corn. I can walk there. It's about a 1.5 mile round trip at my neighbor's. But I swap a lot of my eggs for their corn. I love their corn. They have the best sweet corn. So I'm going to talk to them later. If they need eggs, I'll walk a couple dozen down there and I'll come back with some corn. Anyway, it gives me some exercise too. So I thought I would take you along with what I'm doing to help in my pantry challenge, because right now it's the end of season in the garden and I want to make sure I use up as much of that as possible. I did start kind of working on a few things, and then I thought, why don't I tell you guys what's going on? So anyway, come along with me. Let me show you this huge mess I started, and we'll go from there. Right, one of the things I was going to buy was some salsa, and then I thought, well, let me see what I have. I just bought those peppers, and I keep all of my almost ripe tomatoes in here because it keeps the slugs and the bugs away from them. This is just what I picked today. But earlier today I went and I peeled everything that was ripe so I can get ready to make my salsa. I found some extra onions and garlic in my garden. These are the skins or the peels from the tomatoes. I'm going to dehydrate those and make them into either tomato powder or tomato flakes. And then these are the peppers I had chopped up. I just finished these yesterday from my neighbor. I also decided somewhere in my cabinet, I dehydrated some jalapenos when I had an abundance, but I'm not able to find them at the moment. So this is my catch-all. I don't know. The guys like to just toss their boxes of stuff up here. Well, I started to pull everything out, as you can see here, and I decided I'm just going to reorganize this because I thought my dehydrated jalapenos are up here. So I'm going to reorganize this cabinet while my salsa is being made. And I'm going to inventory this cabinet You know, you can see I have pasta sauce. I have some oatmeal. I have food. I'm not worried about starving to death. I might not have fresh bananas that I want, but it is what it is. And I have some of my ready meals back there. I want to make sure there's nothing getting ready to expire. So I have plenty of food here, and I have a freezer out in the outside that has meat and stuff in it like that. But I want to get this organized and kind of make a list of meals for the next few weeks, couple weeks at least, so that I don't have to be running out to the store. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm going to be making some salsa. You know what? If I don't have jalapenos, it won't be the end of the day. It'll be something I can use to put on tacos with some sour cream. I can always add some cumin or hot sauce or something if I want a bit of, and those peppers have a little bit of a kick too. So I'm going to start making my salsa, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. All right, so to start my salsa, I'm going to cook mine. I'm not canning it this time. I won't have enough, and I don't have small canning jars. I'm the only one who eats it. So I'm going to freeze it in silicone muffin pans. I just put a small amount. I happen to have avocado oil here in my pan because I want to start cooking these onions. Oh my gosh, these were some mighty powerful onions. Let me tell you. Took me a minute to get my eyes unwatered here after I chop these babies up. I'm going to saute those, and I think there's probably a cup, 3/4 of a cup, and I want to put some of my peppers in there. I'm trying to dig out, I want some of the yellow ones in there for the color. So I'd like to put some peppers in there. I'm going to put a couple little handfuls in there, and I'm just going to saute those up until they're soft. I'm going to start chopping up my tomatoes here. I don't know if I have enough tomatoes, which is fine because I have some canned ones that are a couple years past their expiration date. And what I do is I'm going to take my tomatoes and I'm going to lightly squeeze them over this bowl to get some of the seeds out and the centers out. Just so this is a nice paste tomato. These aren't, some of these are cherry tomatoes, some of them are just regular slicing tomatoes. They're on the small side, but hey, tomatoes are tomatoes in my opinion. They all work. I'm going to chop up these tomatoes, and then I'm going to work on my salsa a little bit, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. Okay, we're back over here at the frying pan. I have some tomatoes all chopped up. I minced up a couple of large cloves of garlic. Oh, what a mess. These tomatoes made quite the mess over here. But that's okay. I don't mind. Everything's washable, right? And I think I might add, I don't have a whole lot of tomatoes. And I want to save some to put in fresh because I like that little fresh burst. So I'm going to save about half of these to put in after I cook this just a bit. And I probably will add 1 can of those tomatoes I need to use up. That's about half of my tomatoes. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a can and I'm going to drain it here. Okay, I'm back. So there's 1 can. It's just the 14-ounce cans. I'm going to cook that together for a little bit. Add a splash of apple cider vinegar. It perks it up a little bit. You could use lime juice, which would be preferred for me, but I don't have any, so the apple cider vinegar will work. Now this is where, if you make tomato powder like I do, if this gets too thin, you can always add that tomato powder and like a tomato paste without being liquid, and it would really help thicken this up. Right now it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to simmer this for a few minutes. And oh, I almost forgot, I didn't add cilantro. I have to be careful with the cilantro because I have that weird gene that makes it taste like soap. So I'm just going to add like a pinch. I want it to be in the background. If it comes to the foreground or where my taste buds taste it, my whole thing of salsa is going to be taste like soap. So I don't want that. And of course, I need to add a good amount. Add some salt. I could add more later. I'm just getting the basics here because I want this to simmer a little bit and let all those flavors come together. All right. I didn't cook that real long, maybe 10 minutes. I'm not trying to, turn it into mush. I'm going to add my fresh tomatoes, which I strained a little bit more on those. So let's see. That looks perfect. I've got enough peppers and onions and tomatoes. I have salt and some cumin in there. Let me give it a bit of a taste. It's fiery hot. Ooh, those peppers have a bit of a kick. Not too bad. I don't need jalapeno in this batch. Whoa. All right, here we go. My salsa is ready to go in the freezer. Once they're frozen, I could pop these little, cupcake pucks, whatever, out. And they'll go into some of them will go into one of those airlock freezer bags, the vacuum bags. And the rest will just go into some zipper bags because I'll use it a little bit more. I had just enough left for this next week. There's the extra juice that I can use as juice. That includes the tomatoes I drained out of the can, but every little bit counts. Or it makes an excellent base for vegetable soup. You could just add maybe some bouillon cubes, a little salt and pepper, chop up a bunch of vegetables, and you've got a decent start to a soup. Here's our salsa. It's all frozen. I love these silicone pans because you could just pop them straight out like so. That makes a nice 1 or 2 servings for me later. For now, I'm just going to put them in some zipper bags, and if they're in there more than a month, then I'll go ahead and transfer them to the freezer vacuum bags. I'm getting low on them, so I'm trying not to use them up too much. 4 of these fit in here just perfect. I'm going to remove as much air out of them when I'm done. So anyway, let me know what you think. Do you have a favorite clean out the garden salsa or something similar video? Obviously, I could have made some tomato sauce, which I have over the last couple of weeks. I just wanted something different because I do have 4 or 5 bags of sauce in the freezer already. And then the next video, I'm going to get into a bunch of oddball bread that I need to use up. And I'll show you a couple different things to do with old bread. Obviously, there's breadcrumbs and bread pudding, but I want to show you something really cool. Anyway, here's the salsa. It's all done for now. I'm going to put it in the freezer. Some inside, some outside. Please give me a thumbs up. If you have a favorite salsa recipe, leave it in the comments below because you never know, I might try it later. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.